Baby.
Welcome back to episode 8 of The Correction. If we are indeed live, this thing has a 20-second lag time, and it's very exciting to find out exactly when it kicks in. Cheese, yes. It is so good to have you back.
Hey, it's great to be back, man. I was out of town for about 2 weeks, but back in the groove now, back behind the driver's seat. Got my Marvel characters here behind me. We're ready to go.
And I think we just nailed that timing. To be completely honest, I think it kicked in, and I think we got it. So
when you're good, you're good. Shoot or shoot, bro.
Yeah. It is a little chilly out here in Toronto today. Nice day, but 11 degrees, so I got my little hoodie on. The market is jumping.
It's jumping, bro.
Nice $100 candle right there.
I mean, it's still going. It's not sure where it wants to go yet. I think we're gonna see some lows here coming in, I believe.
Lows on what time frame? Before I shit myself.
Let's see. Let me check here. I think we're probably going to bounce probably about 5,300. Let's see.
Why don't you show us your screen? Since we got some volatility live here, let's start off with that. And then I want to ask you about your futures situation, because you are just wetting my whistle every day.
The man who hates futures wants to know about the futures. How about it, boys and girls?
Yeah, I just hate Forex, okay? Futures.
Fair enough. Let me share my screen here.
Bring your screen up here. Let's take a quick look at this live shot. We've got a $100 dump in progress on the 1 hour. That's what I'm looking at. You're on the 4 hour.
Yes,
looking juicy. I mean, if you look at it, it's just more chop. I mean, this happened recently on that chart, and then it went up. So I mean, I'm not freaking out, but it is always exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look. You're right. We are dumping. Let's zoom in here, see what's happening, see what's going on. Yeah, so we're past the 5,300 now. So let's see if these lows hold us here. Some untested supports. Let's see. I don't think they will. Quite bearish myself. I don't think we should have gotten up here to the 5,600s, but we did. And so here we are. This may be setting up to come fill in some of this void that we've been waiting on.
And that's actually what I've got on all my charts as far as my retraces that I love. And the 618 from the full move up is actually, it would have changed now. I haven't actually updated it since the little move yesterday. I've been slacking.
Now, what I don't know what's going to happen is how are the alt positions going to react to this dump? Like I'm not surprised that we're dumping here. Okay. But what will be interesting to see is how the altcoin market fares during this dump, because I believe this is the dump we've been waiting on.
Yeah, and you know what? Ultimately, there will, I'd say the run out of sellers, but I think given the oversold sort of nature of it, I wouldn't be shocked if alts reacted less to this dump than maybe like the last couple of days. I mean,
yeah.
I think they're exhausted. I'm not buying right now. I'm not longing anything, but that's for later in the show. I want to talk a little bit about
right. And so as a Bravado group, we actually made the call earlier today to move some of our Bitcoin into Tether in anticipation of this move here.
To be fair, it wasn't specifically to do with like we were calling short. It was
right.
I mean, we longed on that edit. We started off our audit by buying Bitcoin, and we bought that Bitcoin at the beginning of January. So the way I see it today in the call, my point I was trying to make was we have no business, longing at whatever it was in the low 3,000s and like not taking any profit up at 5,600 and having zero tether or cash in the account. I don't think you should have sort of a fund of any kind where you don't have any kind of dry powder.
Right. You've got to have some sort of way, and we're all different, but some sort of way to balance yourself out here. You can't, or else you're just considered all in all the time, right?
Exactly. And so it was a good time for us to skim 10% of our Bitcoin or total portfolio into US dollars. In the event that, we do see some lows or whatever. And obviously it works out that today it's having like a juicy dump. This is looking like a nice shakeout. I mean, God, if this just dumps to the void right this second, I'd be shocked. It could.
Yeah. So here's
$1,000 candles before, but
we've gained some stuff in here, and this is why I put this line here at 50.89. We've actually gained some areas on the lower time frames within here. Let me just zoom in here to the smaller time frames. You'll see like this. Let me get this trend line out of the way. I just playing around. I like to put fancy lines on my chart. But you see here, like this is the spot, right? So this was the high at the time, right? The 54.80, right? And you'll remember within the Discord group that I was calling that's probably the top, and it was the top over here. But we ultimately got above it. We closed above it here, and you'll see that same area is actually what sent us down here now. So what's going to be interesting to see is what happens in this little valley right here, right? The valley created within this. Yeah. And so this should bounce here. Now, I don't think
there is a $10 million sell block pushing this.
Yes. Right before we got on the call, I don't know if you've seen the notice, but someone just posted in the Discord about Bitfinex covering up missing money, and I haven't read the article. I just read the headline right before we got on this call, and I imagine that's probably what's driving the liquidity of this move down here.
So this is like a big freak out news driven thing.
Exactly. Although
I think the timing of this,
you know me, I'm not a FA trader whatsoever. I am purely charts based man, but I think we could have seen this coming, right? So we've lost support here, and then we came back, retested it, and that's what sent us lower. So.
It is. It's saying that the Attorney General gets court order to force Bitfinex to cease cover up.
Oh, see,
accusing him of covering up an $850 million loss of client funds using Tether reserves.
Yikes! That's scary news, isn't it, man?
Yeah, that's the kind of news that causes these candles.
So we actually
last time I sold on something like this, was like, oh my god, and rushed to join the fear. Was China FUD 2017. I'm not gonna lie. I did
showing your age there with the China FUD.
I freaked out a bit. But I also had, this is a great lesson to learn why you don't trade on debt, because I started my crypto adventure with a little add on to my savings with a credit line. And so I hadn't taken profits yet, but I was way up. I was up.
You have since paid that debt off. Just to be clear, that you are not recommending people
and hadn't paid anything off yet. And then that happened, and I was like, wow, did I just screw myself? So I actually cut a little, and then actually paid it all off before.
Let's see how price reacts. I'm gonna throw a few more lines, see if I can get a little bit more precise here on my levels.
This just turned into quite the show. I mean, we got live.
We just jumped right in. We had no idea this was going to happen. So let's
talk a little bit about what I learned from my experience, and that is that it's all about probabilities and possibilities in trading, right? Anything could happen. What's most likely to happen? This could go down to 42, 36, new lows, capitulation, 1800. I mean, in 3-4 days, this could turn into the last nasty or continue on. Mm-hmm. That could happen. But the probability is when you see huge dumps like this, selling in an emotional rush,
right,
will long-term cost you money. It never even occurred to me right now. I'm looking at this going, I wonder how low to go. I don't care. You stay hedged. I am actually 75% Bitcoin, 15% hot, HOT. I don't have any Tether right now, but I'm not too worried about this. I was actually saying just today that I think before we get any crazy highs, we're going to have to visit 42 again. So below that, until then, nothing's really shocking.
We've got to go back down, and you can see it, especially on this daily chart here. We have been kind of just drifting up, and this is just a classic view of what distribution looks like, right? So the momentum from this giant candle up, right, when we broke that resistance, around 4,200. And so ever since then, we've kind of just been drifting up here and slowing the upward momentum until we finally hit some levels that we have found enough sellers here to get us to come back down and test these levels. And so we've gained levels in here, and so we've got to come back and find it if there's enough interest to send us higher.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think there's any way that stilt that we popped out of doesn't get filled in. That's part actually that the stream that you were away on, I was talking about the sort of, when a market just plows higher like that and there's no sort of correction or filling in through it, it tends to eventually come back. Actually, I learned that off Carter Thomas, who suggested that at around I forget what it was, 4,700 on his chart, way back 2017. He's like, I'm still setting my bids here. And of course, the bear market, it was funny because we were all like, oh, and he was right. It filled in. But it took a little while. But
so that's a and I'm looking at this here, right? And so I've drawn these levels, around 5100, 5085. And as you can see, we've just kind of ignored them. We've kind of went through them.
Yeah, FA tends to trump TA at all times.
That's debatable, but my point
works in the absence of FA. Don't lie.
My point is that I used to be among the guys who would look at these traders, right, and they would be like, it's gonna bounce here, and so go along here, but then they would forget to tell you that, and so it wouldn't work out, right? Or you would have the guys who said, okay, if it does this, then it's going to do this, or that, and it's kind of like, well, that's a cop out, man. Like, you're just saying one thing, but you're just hedging your bets by saying another. And what I'm saying here, what I'm trying to get across is that, like, I probably would have longed this, right? Like, I probably, if I had spent enough time looking at this, I would have said that these are gain support levels. They should bounce here. But that's why risk management is so key in any market that you trade in, futures, Forex, crypto. It doesn't matter. Like, you've got to have what's going to happen if I'm wrong, right? Like, how much money am I willing to lose? Like, how much pain am I willing to ride in this? Because you can see, like, the momentum, right? And horizontal levels of support and resistance only work if the momentum allows it. And this is, and you said something that was crucial. You said FA trumps TA, and I say to a point, yes. However,
don't go there.
Right. So the FA behind this, the news behind this is providing enough liquidity, enough momentum so that we're skipping levels now. Right?
Well,
so
here's the thing. There's just no other way to put it. If TA works when in the absence of FA. So if you have an earnings report coming out and there's a nice little level approaching, if that earnings report does something unexpected, doesn't matter what the levels say, it will dump or it will pump. So for example, if there's a massive hack and there's a sell, nobody's watching the levels. They're just getting the hell out or they're getting the hell in. So really at times like this, setups tend to break down, charts, stop losses get run, and it's not about running stops. It's just, it's a simple fact. Now look, right here, we're starting to bounce. So all those people that were FOMOing into a short, we just saw
they're probably getting liquidated.
Yeah, $100 bounce up, right? So anything above 5x, just got snapped shut. Not to mention that I'm guessing BitMEX is overloaded right now. I'm looking at my MEX chart.
I haven't been on BitMEX.
Finger on the trigger here, but this actually just ran through an old bid I had at 51.55. I closed that after we went up to 56, thinking if it hits, I don't want to be there. But it would have been nice to have shorted today. I wasn't really looking at the market. I had a few other things on my mind I was doing.
Right.
Like I wasn't looking at my MEX chart, that's for sure. But, you can't really predict news like this. But I will tell you this. Bitfinex news tends to come at mysterious times. Now, I would be very curious to know if this is like a quote from today and it was literally just today and then they're reporting it. I remember when the Tether FUD or the subpoena for Bitfinex's, stuff started, it was like December 4th it was filed. And that was leading into the big bull run of 2017. And it wasn't reported until a month into the bear or whatever, when Bitcoin had dumped, popped up, hit resistance, and then they reported it that day.
The news. Yeah.
And it dumped. And it was like, a day or two later, everyone was like, guys, that was like a month and a half old news. But, the market reacted.
You're right.
I don't know what this is. I haven't looked into this. It's happening as we were on the air. But I'm willing to, regardless of what I think it is, my choice is to do nothing. I'm not, there's something so nice about having a trading plan, having a balanced portfolio.
Right.
So that at times like this, you don't have to go like, oh, crap.
You don't have to freak out.
I'm not ready. What do I do? Sal! And you're emotional. I'm just in positions that are set to stop or not. And, and there's always going to be another day. There's always going to be another trade. There's always going to be an up or down market.
Assuming you've managed your risk appropriately. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think, exactly. Always have money to play another day. If you're long on the market as an investor, speculator, days like today suck, especially if you're over leveraged.
You just need to turn it off and walk away.
If you're sitting mostly in the asset that you're trying to accumulate, whether that's USD or Bitcoin, then days like today, maybe you're in a trade, maybe you're shorting, you're making money. But if you're just neutral, you can kind of relax. And I think I learned that most of all throughout 2018. The biggest takeaway was come up with a plan, because it's not sustainable to be up all night, sweating all day, freaking out at every volatile day. Like,
Right.
that sucks. It's a
Right.
shit to live.
One
So if
guy
you're
in the
feeling that
Discord,
today, just reflect on why, and like talk to us in the Discord, and we can help you kind of
figure out what
formulate
you're
a
doing wrong.
plan. Yeah, because you shouldn't be stressed out.
One of the guys in the Discord asked me yesterday when Ethereum was here, around 167. He said I'm short from 172. He said, Mr. Scheze, where should I take some targets? And so I told him that I believe we would bounce in this box area, but I told him it probably was not going to hold, just based upon the way I read these charts. As we can see here, it has not held, and it's actually gotten two of the four targets that I kind of set out for him. So this is, hopefully he took some profits there. That would have been, if he had his orders set, he would be up.
Well, and those are like some nice laddered bids if you were just trying to get long on ETH for the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Now I do have an idea out here on, and I know that it's probably, I probably shouldn't say things like this, but long-term short on ETH, we haven't quite hit the area where I would want to get short for the long haul here. But I'm talking, down in the, let me fix the screen here.
Some really gross ideas you got on that chart here.
Down here in the, 78, 90, 59, I was looking to get short up above 188 and 200 area. We never quite made it up after, I shared this idea. Here you've got divergence on the daily. And look at that. We have hit exactly, let me zoom in on this one a bit here. I posted this, a week or so ago. The low there is, 148.88, and the first target was 149.48 for this massive short. So
this
beautiful.
Trading View idea?
Yeah. This is a Trading View idea. You can go out there, you can see it.
Follow you on Trading View.
You should follow me on Trading View, and everyone listening should follow me on Trading View. I don't always get them right, but sometimes.
Cypherpunk says hi. I'm going to say what up. Oh, error
message.
Let's see again. Hey, Cypher. Error. What? YouTube's not letting me tack. Sad face. All right. Let's take a look at, okay. I want to talk about your futures trading. That was sort of something that, I thought, the Discord, everyone's curious. I'm curious. You seem to be crushing it, which aside from your strategy, I just think it'd be nice to talk a little bit about what the heck you're doing. You've got a system, if I may try to put an analogy out there, to sort of like a staking situation in poker, where like a pro poker player or an aspiring pro who doesn't have a lot of money might go to a whale poker player and say, I'm really good. And they would stake, and then you split the winnings.
Right.
And it's a little bit like that in the futures market, which makes sense, because if you're a whale and you can basically farm quality traders and then offer to, take a little skim of your profits, why not? Is that sort of what you are doing, and how does that work?
Right. So there's a couple ways to get into this, right? So you can have your own stack of money, and trading futures is a lot. You need a little bit more bankroll than maybe trading crypto per se. It would be interesting to see like how much the average crypto investor has invested. But for futures, you really need at least like $25,000 to start out trading. And so there's these things called funding props, right, where they will put you on a simulated account with real live data as it's happening, and they will say trade. Here's you got to do X, Y, and Z within a certain amount of days, and if you do that, then we'll give you a live account with $25,000 in it, or however amount. I mean, there's some programs out there you can get $100,000 accounts. Now their rules are a bit more stringent. You've really got to know what you're doing in order to be successful, because here's the thing, 95% of us fail at this, right? And so they are set up into a position where they can win-win, but for the trader, it's also a win-win situation, right? Most of these programs cost anywhere from $150 to like $350 to enroll, and then go through the train or go through the period of where they analyze how you trade and whether or not they want to offer you a live account.
So you basically have a tryout, a paper trade account, and over a period of time, you have a minimum number of trades you have to make, and a minimum number of amount of profit you have to make.
Yep.
And then after the end of that, you can basically show them, say, look how good I am. Look what I did over this period of time. Stake me.
If you didn't break any of the rules, yeah. So the one that I'm particularly working with, and if anyone wants more information, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. But the one I'm working with, they give you a $25,000 account. And they give you 60 days. It was like $350, and I've got a discount. If anyone's interested, I've got 20% off or 15% off coupon that just shoot me a message. I'll hook you up with that. But
I'll use your ref link if I ever get into it.
Yes. Yeah, we can post that.
All right.
But so 60 days, $25,000 account, and the only rules for this particular company that I'm working through is don't lose $2,500, right? So 10% of the account. Don't let your account ever go below $22,500. And then they want you to trade, over a 60-day calendar, 60 days. And of those, you have to trade at least once a week, and you have to trade 30 out of the 60 calendar days. And the goal, right, for that 60 days is at the end of the 60 days, you need to have made 10% on the account. So basically, if you
60 days to make 10%?
Yes, 60 days to make 10%. Because again, most of us will fail at this game, and so for them, it's easy risk management. They'll keep the sign up fee, $300 or whatever. They'll keep that, and then you can reset if you blow up, and then redo it. And because when I first started, I actually blew out a couple of accounts, and I had to keep paying the reset fee until finally I found my stride.
So it's like a training. It's like a semi-real paper trading thing, because there's a real prize, which is cash,
right?
But if you blow it, you lose your 300. So
the difference
system actually.
Right. So it's a win-win, right? Like they win because they usually just collect the entry fee, and that's as far as the person makes it, they never lose money. But then if the trader goes on and they become successful, what they do is they incentivize the trader in the first $5,000 in profit that the trader makes. The trader keeps 100%. After that, it becomes an 80-20 split where the trader takes home 80% of the profits and the fund keeps 20%.
Okay. Is it because you have some swings? I don't know if you want to pull up your journal. Yeah. You've got some crazy swings in there, and you're saying if you lose 2,500, that excludes you?
Yeah, if your account drops below 22,500. Here, let me stop sharing my screen, and then I'll pull that up real quick.
Because you're doing some swings that tell me, to make 10% in the month, you could probably lower your swing level. I mean, some of these days you're like up 20, up 2,000, down 3,000, up 3,000, like because each contract's $500, right?
It depends on the product that you trade. Okay. So the NASDAQ is $7,500. So with a $25,000 account, you can trade 3 of them to begin with, I think. The ES is probably like 5,000, but like CL, I think, is 3,200. So with a $30,000 account, you can swing 10 CL contracts. And for CL, every tick that the price goes, and a tick in CL is 1 cent, right? So if it's $66.66 and it gives us $66.67 and you're a long one contract, you've made $10
per percent. Okay.
Right. So let me pull
up. It'll probably fluctuate $1 or $2 on a day, right? Average.
Yeah. So today it didn't move that much. It moved right at the end of the day, and I was caught on the wrong side of it, but that's okay.
No worries. I mean, you got to take your hits, and it's a really.
That's right.
This reminds me of my boy Rocky Balboa.
That's right.
How hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep on going.
That's true.
Risk, you can get hit pretty damn hard multiple times, and you'll be there to trade tomorrow, and that's the key.
Yeah. Here, let me know when you can see my screen here.
I can see your screen, just not.
Okay, just not the screen. I just want to make sure
Okay.
Make sure I show the correct thing. So this is my trading journal software for the month of April. So I began trading back in. I began the 60 days. I'm about 48 days in, somewhere around there right now. So I'm almost done with the 60-day challenge. And
that's a proper grind. 60 days. straight shot.
And remember, right? The goal is to make $2,500 with a $25,000 account. So in the month of April, and then don't let the account fall below 22,500.
Okay. There's a minimum trades though, right?
Right. So you have to trade at least once a week and at least 30 of the days. Right. So they don't want you to like just get lucky, come in, make one trade at the beginning of the 60 days, and then walk away for 60 days. And you just got lucky. And so now they're going to have to risk real live money to put you in an account. So this is my journal for the month of April. And you can see that the last week has been really good for me, except today. And again, we were talking before we got on the call, and today was the first day I streamed, and so I had all that going on in the morning, so I was less focused. But so I ended the day down about $1,700. But yesterday I was up 2,000, so it's not a big deal. I'm still up on the week. I'm up on the month, right? $9,107 on the month. Total trade count of 29 and a win rate of almost 80%, which is, for me, I feel like that's pretty good.
Win rate of what, sorry?
79%, 79.3%.
Dude, that's a solid win rate. A lot of the books you read, or the trading sort of methodology, if you can trade profitably consistently over time at 66%, 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, you're a millionaire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right more than wrong, and at a certain number of risk to reward ratio, and you are the gains are infinite. So 79 is not bad.
So you can see that, like, today I was actually up at one point, like, $1,500. But I was trying to stick to my original plan. And I know you and I talked about this, right before we got on the call here, but like, I had a feeling, right? So like, okay, so yesterday I made $2,000 in less than, I think I was in the market total time about 45 minutes yesterday. Yeah,
you were bragging.
Tuesday,
you told me
$1,500 in 30 minutes, and then on Monday it was about the same thing, about $1,400 in a 30-minute time frame. And so today I was up about $1,100 after like 5 minutes of being in a trade, and at that point it just started going sideways, and before I knew it, was 3 hours had gone by and I was still up only $600. And so I was like, man, this is not worth the squeeze. And so ultimately it stopped me out on that trade. I tried another trade. It went bad. And then I had 2 good trades today that I was down, $3,500 on the day, but I brought it back up to $1,700. So it's not bad. I mean, I had a feeling I should have quit while I was ahead, but
well, and let me just cut you off right there, because I've done that a lot, and especially in poker and a cash game. I used to play a lot of poker, and you've got to have a plan. And that's what I was saying to you before the call too, right? Like, you were saying, oh, I wish I got out when I was up. I mean, we all do. But did you get out when your plan said to get out? And if not, journal. Why not change your plan? Or if you did and it just didn't work, then check your plan. And that way, it's not all about I feel like this, I feel like that. It's like, I had the perfect world. You have a robotic plan, and you just follow it, and there's no thinking, and it's boring as fuck, but you make like X amount of money. So if you're feeling that, and this just one friend to another, journal that.
Yeah.
I know you got a journal. This is your tracker. Where's your journal at, baby? Show me that emotional juice.
I don't keep any. I don't keep any of that. I go based off numbers. I'm a numbers guy. So
no FA, no journal.
None of that. I don't have time. The thing is, I don't journal in real life. I wouldn't have time to write stuff down because I'd never read it anyway. But I do track my performance. So that I do journal.
If I'd like to learn more, which I do, about your paper trade situation, I'd be down. I'm actually learning about futures trading in the trading course I'm taking right now. It's sort of week 11, and they're talking futures, and I'm learning all about the commodities and all that. So I wouldn't mind, throw 300 at this thing and just mess with it for a bit.
Yeah,
because it's a safe way. Like, look, you lose your shirt, it's only $300. But if you do well, whatever.
Yep. This specific company that I'm working through right now, they offer like say you're down $2,000 from your starting balance, they'll actually let you reset for half price. So if you
so if
you're like, I'm not going to be able to crawl back out of this, and I don't want to risk losing another $500, they'll let you reset for 500 as opposed to losing the $500 and then going back and paying the full price to reset.
Oh, these guys are good.
These guys are
thinking about how many people lose money doing this shit. They must make a killing off these $300 rebuys. It's a $300 rebuy like mega tournament, basically. I'm thinking poker again. God, I don't know why. I think I got to go play some poker this weekend. Get this off. I'll remember why I hate it so much. It's so boring. It's sitting there friggin' 12
So for me, right, the goal has already been met. Obviously, from a $25,000 account about 46 days ago, I am up to, I think, I don't have
9,000 P&L.
Well, that's just this month alone. I'm up to about $41,000 in the account because it started back in March.
Okay.
So what with that, I have been taking right. So one trade here I made $1,400. Two trades here I made $1,500. One trade here I made $2,000. And really, the only way to do that is to also risk that much in losing. And so with me, like I can lose like $17,000 on this account and still not be failing the challenge. So for me, it's a little bit of, well, is it real money? It's not technically real money, but in reality, it is real money because like I'm playing for keeps, right? Like if this is real, then, but that allows me to take bigger trades and shorter time frames and allows me to make the big move.
Yeah. I mean, because at the end of this, it's still all paper for this challenge, right? So say you clear this challenge with 100K, you don't get any more credibility, do you?
So, right. So they do have a thing that if you go 4-1, right, which means if your max drawdown is $2,500, and so if you make at least $20,000, or if you make at least $10,000, which would be a 4-1, 10,000 to 2,500, they actually give you back that $350 entry fee. So they do incentivize you to keep trading, and obviously I'm up over $35,000 on the account, so I'm looking forward to getting my money back on that entry fee.
Dope. So your goal is basically to get to the 45.
And I'm learning, right? So actually, like these 2 weeks, I was actually 35. Out of town the entire time from April the 8th or the 7th through the 21st or the 20th. I was out of town, and so I was actually trading from the road some of these days.
Sitting there on your phone in the car.
Friday, I did get to sit down and actually trade a little bit this Wednesday, and so that's why like maybe that's not actually a true representation, but I'm able to along the way learn things about myself by watching these and learning more about like how I react when certain situations happen in trades. And so I was mentioning in the Discord a few weeks ago, like for me, one thing I need to learn was to walk away after I was up, right? Like I was up, $2,000 after 40 minutes yesterday. I could have kept trading, right? And I think the old me would have kept trading just to get, well, why not go for 10K on the day, But for me, like 2K, like that's enough, man.
Yeah, and I think that's back to the rule thing I was talking about. So so you just said that. So now you have to set a rule that every single time you hit that profit on the day, you walk away.
Right.
And you never ever get there and go, actually, this chart looks good, I'm gonna keep going, because maybe that day it will, but if you have that rule, you can just sleep at night and you can walk away. So
for me, usually if I close a trade, right? So one thing I've learned, and at least in the month of April and the latter part of March, was that for me, if I'm up over $1,000 on the day and I'm out of the trade, I'm already in, right? So if I say I have like a trade where I'm up, $1,400, but I haven't closed the trade because it hasn't hit quite where I wanted to go. At that point, I'll let it keep going. But if it comes back, stops me out, around $1,200, and usually at that point, I'm like, I'm done for the day. Like, no point in giving the market more money back.
Yeah, and it's funny how the mood comes in sometimes. I mean, there's days where I'd be grinding poker and I'd be up 500, and I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'm leaving. Right. Because I know if I go back to zero, I don't have the energy to stick around and keep trying to win it.
Win it all back.
If I lose anything back, I'm gonna have to sit here for a while, and I hate it. So. Yeah, but that was also part of me in leaving poker, was that I just found it boring. It's exciting for like a day.
At some point, it wasn't, the squeeze wasn't worth the juice, right? So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's you know what? Too much. So let me take a look at my screen here. I'm gonna throw up here. I want to look through my Binance list.
Did you want to mention Paper Trade Paradise?
Oh yeah, well. No, but yeah, let's do it. Let's hold on a sec. Content from portion of portion. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. Just adjusting. Let me know if you can see this.
Oh, I can.
You can? Excellent. So went down, did a little Binance scan yesterday because in all this blood. Now look at this. This is your 4-hour eternity. See, this is exhausted. So today's dump, all that news, alts aren't dumping. And that's
right.
Just something to think about, which is part of why, where you long is so important. If you're longing an alt that is exhausted or an asset that's just exhausted, oversold, it's a safer entry because even in the event of some negative FA, there just may not be any sellers that are ready to go.
Right.
And so you have sort of a protected entry. And I want to give you my favorite example of that. This quote unquote shitcoin that obviously me and my fund were in early of 2018. So full disclosure, I own a bag of this. But look at ZCN here. It pumped last year right as it was getting announced as a partner with Oracle and a partner with AWS, which again, they have lots of partners. So it wasn't like they're picking ZCN, but it was huge. I mean, it's a big shout out. And if you look, they didn't dump it all today. Like nobody cares. Nobody with ZCN is like, oh no, I might sell. I mean, we're just all down here chilling.
No liquidity here. Yeah. So you just get sideways.
And so like, this is one of my biggest bags. I didn't even have to check it today. I know it's not going anywhere because seller's exhausted. I sold maybe 30-40% of my bag up here, rebought down along this stretch. Actually, recently I've been accumulating here right before this wick. I actually bought up here and then it wicked. I was like, oops. But whatever. So, I mean, this is like a 10-cent coin that I think is an easy dollar someday. So whatever. Slight shill. Slight flex.
Booyah.
But it's nice because it didn't dump today. Ambrosis. Look at Ambrosis. Ugliest coin of last month. Dump today. I mean, okay.
It's already on the floor.
Let's look at the hour. Okay, it did dump. There was actually a nice sell volume. It did dump, but like we're not making new lows like Bitcoin is.
Right.
So anyways, let's take a look down here. A lot of these did, right? So I'm not saying none of them do, but it says something when you can choose or hunt for assets or hold assets that like I wouldn't put anything in my hold port like BNB. That's just like up here. Yeah, I don't want to hold
time highs.
I'm trading that maybe. I'm flipping it maybe. If I'm looking for a bag to hold, I better have a real good feeling that I got in near the bottom.
Yep.
Otherwise, I just don't care to do it. It's not worth it. I'd rather trade it. So yeah, BLZ just swept its lows. How small is my chart? Is it really gross? So it's on my big.
It's not too bad. I mean, you can see the all-time high there.
Okay, let's go to the daily. It's a little easier. So yeah, Blue Zell sweeping its lows. That could turn into a great entry right here if we just end up here and you'll be like, oh, I should have bought. But why am I not buying here? Well, we don't know what it's going to do, and they say, I know, don't try to call the bottom.
Right.
I mean, if your strategy is to just take little nibbles, and just add to little bags here and there all the time through down markets, and then chop little bags, little bits here and there to up markets, hey, that's great. But if you're looking for like a one-off trade where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get long, trying to buy this, it looks like it could be great. I mean, if you want, buy here, stop here. Oh my God, I froze already. That's awkward, bro.
Move your mouse?
No, I'm done.
You're done. Oh, your mouse is moving, but your screen is frozen.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the end. Damn it. This 5K screen, man, I swear I'm going to take it back.
Your Apple computer is too smart for us.
I'm taking them back. And it does it every week, and I never have the time to figure out why. Okay, well, you know what? Did you stay in the stream last time this happened? And it
I did until it ended. I mean,
does
I
it
think
cut
I got
off?
off shortly after we said bye. So
dang it! It's always this 30-minute mark too. It's the crypto gods.
I guess we need to.
I wanted to talk about stink bids. Dang it! Yeah,
that's all good. We'll save it for next week.
Yeah. Oh, Cypherfunk wants to know why we are shadow banned on Twitter. I don't know what that means.
Who's shadow banned on Twitter?
What's a shadow ban?
It's where they ban you, bruh.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm a Twitter noob, though. I don't really like Twitter. It's weak. Do we wrap? You want to wrap it up, or should I try to reboot and get in?
Let's just wrap it up. Call it a day. We're about 40 minutes in at this point or so. So,
okay. All right. Well,
shut us down here.
Full points on the end there, but basically what I was going to say is when you're looking at daggers like this downwards, hunting for divergence, looking like there's some reversal coming. I want to see some kind of bullish support. And I don't care if I've got to buy 10% above this beautiful low that might be forming, because at least I'll have some evidence that it's headed in the right direction, right? And if you're going up 100%, what's that 10% going to matter? I mean, yeah, okay, compound gains from the bottom, but it's the idea that it could just keep going. We could be hunting new lows, right? We could just go down to find support at 500 sat. And how's your entry looking now, right? So
that's right.
Over time, it's in my opinion much smarter, much savvier to wait for some form of reversal, whether that's through divergence and then some bullish market structure, nice little double bottom, neckline break, retest, boom, and you're headed up. And that might take a month. And so, it's not very sexy, but making money is, and that's one of the better ways to do it. So
that's right.
Let's play patient here on alts. I'm not in a rush to buy these yearly lows, even though they look so tasty.
So just a quick summary of today's show. Don't get caught with your pants down on Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you're interested in futures market, just reach out. We'll get you hooked up.
Do the disclaimer.
Disclaimer. This is not financial advice. I don't have it put up in front of me.
Just say a lot of stuff that sounds smart and gets you in trouble.
Everything we say is for educational purposes only. They should not be taken. We're not financial advisors, nor are we licensed. If you need financial advice, please consult a financial advisor. We're not them. So,
yeah, no.
There you go.
If you're following us, you got bigger problems. Now, with that said, it's been a goddamn pleasure, Cheese.
It's been real, man.
Yeah, I missed you, man. It's good to have you back. And
good to be back.
I'm going to give a quick shout out to the entire audience. I promise I will figure out, at least have a good answer for what the hell's going on with these freezes.
Please do, because we're just stuck looking at your face frozen in time here.
It's the ugliest face freeze too, right? I'm like sitting there like mouth half open. It's gross. All right. Everybody,
all right, take us
back in and shut her down. So you might get a minute here, but take care, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you in the Discord.
Cheers.
Cheers.